Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest Power Up series by Topstep. I'm Ronn Breaux. Our topic for this Power Up is managing timesheet corrections in SuiteProjects Pro. In almost every professional service organization we work with, and especially for those that capture time, having accurate timesheets is always a struggle, but it is always critical. Accurate timesheets support those critical KPIs that every professional service organization requires. So occasionally, when our users don't get it right, what are our options? Thankfully, within SuiteProjects Pro, there are several options for correcting time. Of course, the type of correction depends on multiple factors, and we'll go through the different options and the different factors in today's Power Up. Our first scenario is I'm Abby Kwan and I put together my timesheet and I thought I was done and I hit save and submit. And immediately I realize I made a mistake and I forgot something or need to change something. If I look at my submit approve, I can see that it's still waiting on approval, so no one has approved it yet. So I can actually take action without having to have it officially rejected by the approver. If I come into report, I can actually reject my own timesheet. By clicking reject, I can say, well, adding more time. And what happens now is my timesheet now shows up and rejected. And I can now go in and update it and add more time and fix any errors and then resubmit it. So I say, oh, if I forgot to put the project in, so let's put another project, and let's say we spent 2 hours this day, and now I can save and submit it. So I've been able to take care of this myself without having to reach out to the approvers and have them do a rejection. Speaking of rejection, timesheet rejections is another way for project managers and timesheet approvers to correct timesheets. There are two ways you can set SuiteProjects Pro up to handle timesheet rejections and approvals. One is at a global level, meaning each timesheet that is being reviewed is either approved or it's rejected. So I can come in here and approve it, or I can come in here and reject it. And if I reject it, I'm rejecting the entire timesheet and I'm putting in a reason for the end user to then go in and correct and resubmit. Another option is to basically set the system up to approve or reject at a line level versus at the entire timesheet level. So from here, if I wanted to say I'm rejecting the Cooper software line, here's why, and then I can approve or reject the timesheet. So what we would actually do is create a new rejected timesheet for the Cooper, and then it would approve push through approval or to the next approver for all of the Abbott time. There are pros and cons to this approach that we see. The pro is you're able to go run through billing Abbott without having to hold up the entire timesheet because of one project. And sometimes that project is even an internal project. So you're holding up billable time to correct an internal project. So if that's a scenario, then this would really help. The downside is it does get confusing because it does start to split the timesheet into small pieces. Now, there is an option to rejoin the timesheet once everything's been approved. But again, there's a lot of different settings you have to make sure you get turned on in order for all of this magic to work. So just be advised, if you can avoid the line level, then that's typically what we start off with as our first recommendation. One other note around timesheet approvals. There is a role permission that allows a user to correct a timesheet without rejecting it. So if I have that role, I could actually go in to the edit screen and I could actually make changes without the user actually being alerted. The benefit here is there's no delay. I can make the change that I know I need to make, move it to a project that I know it was incorrect and I know where it should go. and then make the change and then submit it, and have it then go forward. The downside is the end user has no visibility that their timesheet's been altered. So they're not learning why their timesheet was incorrect and how to correct it next time. So you may end up getting the same incorrect timesheet over and over again without having the end user do their own corrections. So again, it's up to each organization to, do you want to allow the project manager? They can still reject it if they want to, but they could also correct it if they're in a bind and they need a speedy, and they actually know what's wrong with it. So something to think about in your configuration, but it is a role-based permission that you have access to. Lastly, what we run into is where the timesheet was approved and then it was processed. And what do I mean by processed? I mean it was run through a billing rule, or it was exported to a third-party system for payroll purposes, perhaps. But either way, it can no longer be unapproved. Opening up a timesheet, going to submit approve. If you see this click here, it means you have the right permissions and the timesheet has not been processed. What does it mean to have the right permissions? Well, unapproving a timesheet is not a role permission. It is a user-specific permission. So on your user record, there are timesheet options that say allow the user to unapprove a timesheet. So this needs to be set for anyone who's going to be given the permission to unapprove a timesheet. At that point, you can unapprove the timesheet, and then the user will get an alert, and you can let them know what they need to do to update the timesheet, or if you're an admin, you can update it for them. You will need to proxy in as them, though, to submit it back for another round of approvals. But if the timesheet has been processed, so if I go back into timesheets approved and pull up this one for Abby and go to submit approve one more time, you can see that it has been locked and you cannot unapprove it because there are 3 charges that have been billed. So how do I fix this timesheet? Well, it's called a timesheet adjustment. If you go to edit and go into the grid, you'll notice that you cannot make any changes. There's no save functionality. Even if you click in and make a change, there's no way to save it. But if you have, again, the right permission, there is an adjust this timesheet function. This now opens the timesheet, copies the timesheet, and from here I can say, you know what, for this timesheet, for this one, we were going to move it from one project to another. It's 8 hours. Save. When I save it, it does give me the chance to put notes in. It does show me the impact of moving hours from the Abbott project to the Ultima project. So -8 and 8. And then when I save this, there is a setting that you can save it and submit it, or you can save it and it goes direct to approved. We generally recommend going direct to approved because it's generally finance or an admin that's doing this time. And then notes are optional, but notes again can be helpful if you're getting audited. Why did you adjust this timesheet? Once you save it, you can go back to your list and you can see a list of timesheets and adjusted timesheets. You'll notice that they have a 0 balance because we have a +8 and -8. And when you run billing on those projects inside of this adjusted, you'll get negative charges on one and positive charges on the other. So Adjusting a timesheet is the best way to correct time, especially if you're a T&M shop and you've done all your T&M billing against a project. Now, one last note, this is a one-by-one action. So one timesheet at a time, doing an adjustment, going to the next, which may be fine if it's a one-off. But we have some customers with thousands of users, thousands of resources putting time on projects. And occasionally they need to move time in bulk. And that is not something you want to go click through each timesheet and make adjusted timesheet. It would take you forever. So you have a couple of options. If you're savvy and you have licensing for Integration Manager, you can move time from one project or one task to another using the Integration Manager tool, which is here. However, if this is going to be a recurring event, like we do have some customers where they're constantly moving time due to one reason or another, and it's a high volume, then we would recommend employing Topstep to create a timesheet move script. And what that script will do is you'll give you a template in a spreadsheet where you'll say time from and to. You'll put in the requisite information, upload that CSV file into a workspace inside of SPP, and then a script will read that file and it will move the time for you. So again, this is not common, but we have run into this with a few customers recently where they are looking for bulk moving, automated bulk moving, and Topstep can accommodate. If you want to find out more, please visit topstepllc.com, or you can follow us on LinkedIn. Thank you.